Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is AQILA binti ISMAIL with my partner NADIA binti Abbas under the supervisor Dr. NORAZIRA binti AYOB gonna present to you our research study which entitled Gender Culture Towards Entrepreneurship Developments in Kuala Lumpur. Before that, I will be explain on the topic outline. For the topic outline consists of 5 chapters. For the chapter 1 consists of introduction. For the chapter 2 consists of literature review. Chapter 3 consists of methodology. For the chapter 4 consists of research finding and analysis. And the last chapter, chapter 5, consists of discussion and conclusion.
Assalamualaikum, my name is NADIA binti Abbas and I am the second presenter. I will be presenting on the research background of gender culture towards entrepreneurship development in Kuala Lumpur. According to UNUHA 2007, entrepreneurship is the practice of creating new businesses or revitalizing existing ones in response to identified possibilities, particularly in enterprises. Entrepreneurship is viewed as a source of economic development, innovation and growth in most nations by knowing the importance of social, cultural and economic variables in entrepreneurship since they are important to understand on how to encourage structural and entrepreneurial activity. In addition, there are 3 main independent variables of gender culture in this study, which are stereotypes, gender discrimination, and social role that can be investigated for the entrepreneurship development in Malaysia, specifically in Kuala Lumpur. Moving on to the purpose of the study, which is to deepen a fundamental issue in entrepreneurship research from the perspective of how gender culture affects the entrepreneurship development in Malaysia. This slide stated the 3 problem statements of the study. The first problem statement is, according to Kramilan and Sahih 2018, they have stated that government and financial institutions questions on the women's risk in taking capability as well as their ability to run business. During Malaysia's economic reforms, the government has implemented a number of entrepreneurship initiatives for the development of entrepreneurship, but the number of female entrepreneurs in Malaysia still remains smaller than men. Secondly, since financial resource is the main element in starting businesses, thus, according to Hussein Jahangir and Al-Ahad 2018, they have stated that the financial industry is highly regulated and offers little possibility for female entrepreneurs. An increase in the number of women entrepreneurs could keep to lessen the burden of low-income households in Malaysia. Therefore, the third problem statement is, according to Abdul Muttalib, Arshad, Ismail and Ahmad 2015, female entrepreneurs in Malaysia confront a specific set of resource obstacles as many female entrepreneurs are involved in businesses such as the hawkers, retail and wholesale since these type of businesses do not require skills, labor or money and they are considered as not difficult and less risky. Now, we are moving on to the research questions and research objectives of this study. So there are 3 research questions and 3 research objectives respectively. The first research question is, what is the level of awareness about gender culture towards entrepreneurship development in Kuala Lumpur? Secondly, the research question for the study is, what is the relationship between stereotypes, gender discrimination and social roles towards entrepreneurship development in Kuala Lumpur? Thirdly, the research question is, what is the main determinant of gender culture towards entrepreneurship development in Kuala Lumpur? As for the research objectives, there are 3 main objectives that we would like to highlight. So the first research objective that we would like to highlight is to study the level of awareness about gender culture towards entrepreneurship development in Kuala Lumpur. Secondly, is to examine the relationship between stereotype, gender discrimination and social roles towards entrepreneurship development in Kuala Lumpur. And last but not least, to determine the main determinant of gender culture towards entrepreneurship development in Kuala Lumpur.
I'm going to continue with the conceptual framework. According to Powell, Butterfield and Perrin in 2002, it stated that stereotype refer to the human productivity to categorize person into broad group based on characteristics such as gender or occupation and then to form assumption about the characteristics and activities of members of this group. In entrepreneurship sector, such stereotyping will lead to the negative effect. It can lead to problems such as unintelligent decision, communication difficulties, and in general contribute to the development of the business itself. Next is gender discrimination. According to the 4th edition of Dewan Bahasa Dictionary, discrimination means the treatment of discriminating skin color, descent, and so on. Targeted discrimination in the world of work consists of discrimination age, gender, race, and religion. Besides, gender discrimination also refers to the unfair treatment given by employers due to the gender differences between men and women. It means the treatment that have been given in unfair according to the differences between gender which give the negative impact on economic development and society itself. Last independent variable is the social role. The social role can be observed looking at the social function in basic behavioral commonalities origin from a systematic basis. In true social convention position women in the kitchen doing housework and caring for children and the ill, while men work and bring money home to support the family. The main party is then configured as the perfect organization for beginning and running by. Meanwhile, based on the Carter and Rosa, women find obstacle to accessing market opportunity due to the social role assumption. This is dependent variable, which is entrepreneurship development. Entrepreneurship development is important as it spurs the economic growth, increase national income, create social change, and increase community development, which reflects to the IT definition in creating more knowledgeable entrepreneurs. Therefore, the idea brings the most potential in determining the influence of gender culture towards entrepreneurship development.
Next, I will be presenting on the independent variables, dependent variables, and hypothesis development of this study. So firstly, stereotypes and entrepreneurship development. For H-note, there is no relationship between stereotypes and entrepreneurship development in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. For H1, there is a relationship between stereotypes and entrepreneurship development in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Secondly is the gender discrimination and entrepreneurship development. For H-note, there is no positive significant association between gender discrimination and entrepreneurship development in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. And for H1, there is a positive significant association between gender discrimination and entrepreneurship development in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Thirdly is the social roles and entrepreneurship development. For H-note, there is no significant relationship between social roles and entrepreneurship development in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. And for H1, there is a significant relationship between social roles and entrepreneurship development in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia.
I will be explaining on research methodology. First, research design. We use quantitative method. The quantitative research technique will be utilized in this study, which we rely on the primary data from a survey of entrepreneurs in the Kuala Lumpur. Second is unit of analysis. In this case of this research, the study focuses on the people who are involved in the entrepreneurship in Kuala Lumpur. Third is sample size. The sample comprises 116 respondents among entrepreneurs in Kuala Lumpur. Fourth is sampling technique. The cluster sampling technique could be defined in which all population elements are categorized into mutual exclusive and exhaustive groups called cluster. The target population for this study are Bandar Tun Razak, Maluri, Pandan Perdana, and Taman Desa. Thus, the selected area could be the representative of the state in Kuala Lumpur on the study of gender culture towards entrepreneurship development. Fifth is data measurement. We use Likert scale for our measurement, where the respondent can choose from 1 to 5, which scale from 1 strongly disagree to 5 strongly agree. 6 is data collection. We use questionnaire by using a Google form, which is convenient to use. The proposed questionnaire will cover 5 sections. Section A, demographic. Section B, stereotype. Section C, gender discrimination. Section D, social role. And last section E, entrepreneurship development. And for the last is data analysis. We use for objective 1, we use descriptive statistic, which show means and standard deviation. For the objective 2, we use a Pearson correlation. And for the last objective, objective 3, we use multiple regression analysis. I will be explaining on the demographic. First is gender. The highest percentage of the gender is 70.6% and the frequency is 113, which consists of female respondent. And for the age is the highest is 50.6% with the frequency 81 respondent, which consists of 28 to 32 years old respondent. For the type of business, the highest percentage is 41.9% with the frequency of 67 respondent, which choose the food and beverage as the type of business. For the type of financial, is the highest is saving with the percentage of 72.5% and the frequency of the respondent is 116. And for the last is income, they choose a RM 4001 to RM 8000 as their income. And the percentage of it is 45% with the frequency 72 respondent. Next, we go to the main finding. The first objective, we use the descriptive statistic and the result mean. It consists of 3 IV and 1 DV. For the first stereotype, mean is 4.2550. The mean for gender discrimination is 4.3506. The mean for the social role is 4.6013. And the last mean is entrepreneurship development is 4.6538. Thus, it is shown that the result for the objective 1 is answered, where the level of awareness about gender culture towards entrepreneurship development is high, in which majority of the respondents choose the strongly agree and agree for the question. Next, the second objective views Pearson correlation, and the result shows for the stereotype R is 0.369 and the p-value is 0.000. For the gender discrimination, R is 0.537 and the p-value is 0.000. For the social role, R is 0.902 and the p-value is 0.000. The hypothesis for the second objective is H1 is accepted and H null is rejected, where there is a significant relationship between all independent variable and dependent variable. Next is the third objective. We use multiple regression analysis, and the result shows that R squared is 0.8222, which means the independent variable give a huge impact as much as 82.22% to dependent variable. Thus, the model can be categorized as a strong model. For the stereotype, beta value is 0.009 and the p-value is 0.803. And for the gender discrimination, the beta value is 0.091 and the p-value is 0.044. And for the social role, beta value is 0.817 and the p-value is 0.00. Thus, we can conclude social role is the predictor variable that contribute to the highest to the variation of the entrepreneurship development. Last but not least, all the results from the analysis had answered all the research objectives for this study.
Next is the research limitation and recommendation. Firstly is the limited sample size. Apparently, the COVID-19 pandemic in Malaysia has made it quite tough for the researchers to distribute the questionnaires and to reach entrepreneurs in Kuala Lumpur due to the movement control order that was implemented by the government. The only medium that we rely on in distributing the survey was via social platforms such as Instagram, WhatsApp, and Google. Thus, the sample size of our respondents is smaller than our initial sample size, as most entrepreneurs do not respond to our questionnaires online. At first, we initially only received less than 100 responses from entrepreneurs, but we managed to get 160 by looking up for entrepreneurs' Instagram shop online and direct message them personally to ask for their kind assistance in answering their questionnaires. As for the recommendations, future researchers who have the intention to research on gender culture and entrepreneurship development in this area could extend their sample size to other districts. The second limitation of the study is limited model. This study only covers 3 independent variables, which are stereotypes, gender discrimination, and social roles. To study more in depth of gender culture towards entrepreneurship development, other variables could be identified to expand the study and to get a better accuracy on the findings. Therefore, future researchers could include more independent variables in the study, and some of the recommendations for future researchers to consider for their independent variables are the gender egalitarianism, power distance, and human orientation. Lastly, the limitation of this study is it is a quantitative study. These study methods provide limited findings, as the questionnaire design does not applicable to understand, get to know the view and experience of the respondent in depth. Hence, future researchers could consider conducting qualitative study to get better and more data accuracy from the respondent by conducting interview sessions. Moving on to research recommendation of this study. Firstly, government needs to implement more entrepreneurship development programs for women. This is because these programs will encourage more women entrepreneurs to empower and develop more relevant skills in entrepreneurial field and prevent gender stereotypes among entrepreneurs, as these programs will provide support and financial aid for women to start venturing in business. Secondly, public authorities should promote positive success stories of entrepreneurs. By promoting success stories of entrepreneurs such as Datin Bibi Yusof, Ivana Salihuddin, Raja Jasrina Arshad, and Zenlo, it could be an inspiration for both men and women to become entrepreneurs and eventually promote entrepreneurship development. Thirdly, by providing entrepreneurship education at an early age, students would be more prepared to start their own businesses, as they are equipped well with their respective skills and knowledge required for the entrepreneurship field. In conclusion of the overall study, stereotypes, gender discrimination, and social roles are proven to influence the entrepreneurship development of the entrepreneurs. This study has provided an insight of how entrepreneurs are being treated depending on their genders in venturing into business. Besides, the implication of the study could be viewed as initiative for the authorities to make changes to the society so that the society will treat everyone despite their gender equally. Moreover, recommendation and limitation of the study are being included for the acknowledgement and guide of future researchers in conducting their study. That's all from us. Thank you.